This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, November 15th, and of course, we've got Bob here, but we have our long-lost friend from the Hour podcast. Trevor is joining us for the first time in like a year.
Yay! What is up, fellas? I mean, I got a lot to say, both about football and hockey. Positives, I don't know, but I got some stuff to say. That's all I'm going to leave you with.
Well, I will say this, though, Trevor, before we start, you got a really killer mustache going on.
Well, thank you. And we're only halfway through the month, so it's going to keep going. December 1st, this baby's coming off. So,
dude, no. Keep it. It looks good on you.
Okay, I'll grow the chin strap. So it kind of complements it. Yeah, we'll do it.
There you go. I was gonna say, if our Rochester guy Jeremy Macbeth was on, he'd be calling you a porn star beast.
Jeremy the Amherst dude, yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I should say real quick, he actually looks like Ron Jeremy.
That was what someone in one of my classes said. It looked like Ron Jeremy. I thought he kept trying to say Ron Burgundy. I was going to say either or is a compliment, I guess.
Well, think of it this way. No. You don't have that. You don't have the half bald head, and you don't have the big ass beer guts. So you're already in better shape.
Well, not yet. If I keep watching the Sabres team, I'll get a beer gut by March at this rate.
Yeah, they're driving us a drink just like the Bills are driving us a drink after that pathetic excuse of a game.
Like I said,
Monday
we
night.
Got a lot to say. We got a lot.
We do. So, of course, if you guys want to jump on and talk with Trevor, we've got the Facebook chat going. And, of course, you can call us in at 92920560099. So, obviously, let's talk about the game that was a total shit show. And, of course,
which one?
Well,
which one?
The Bills first.
Okay.
We'll talk about that one. But it was absolutely pathetic. 24-22, 12 men on the fucking field to basically make it a 28-yard field goal attempt instead of being at least 30-something. And then on top of it, what happens? You basically had 4+ turnovers. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't establish a run game. Well, actually, you did establish a run game. You just didn't stick with it.
Yeah, and one fucking play.
Yeah, exactly. And
First
then, of course,
play of the game, he fumbles it away.
Yeah, and James Cook sits out for the next 16 plays on top of it.
And then he breaks one for 42, and he fumbles the ball, bounces it back to himself. They set up great field position. Did they score on that drive?
I think they did.
I think they took the 22-21 lead on that drive. I think. Yep.
And then of course, remember the botched handoff?
Oh God.
And then it's like you're minus 41 yards or something crazy.
That's on 17 as well. He didn't even have control of the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, guys? So you're 5-5. And basically, of course, one of the biggest problems is that our offense is so damn predictable. And of course, one of my friends was at the game and got to watch Ken Dorsey get fired right after, which I think is a good step forward. It's like, sucks to be you, Ken Dorsey. It's like, hey, shit happens. You didn't produce, and obviously your offense couldn't produce anything because after he ended up destroying Miami, you did nothing after that.
Here's the thing. Takeaways from the game. I have 3 of them. Ready? First one.
Go for it.
First one is a positive. Defense, lights out. Defense was great. What did the Broncos have? 11 possessions. They were gassed out at the end of the game. That's why they lost. I mean, they were making mental mistakes. I blame the defensive coordinator. I think for sure he doesn't know how to count to 12. Apparently, doesn't know how to count to 11. I blame that on coordination and special teams for sure. I mean, I believe it was a 41-yarder that he missed, and it turned into a 36-yarder that he hit because it was only a 5-yard penalty. They had 12 men on the field. Defense was great. They were just gassed out at the end of the game. That's why they let Jerry Jeudy and Russ go down the field. I don't even know what that pass interference was. That was just fatigue.
That was,
If he turns around and plays the ball, Bills win that game. He intercepts the ball. But I think that's just fatigue. The second thing, Josh Allen, the first Bills quarterback since 2011 to throw an interception in 6 straight games. I was in 5th grade the last time a Bills quarterback threw 6 straight interceptions in a season. That's bad. Josh Allen does not look great. His deep ball is better than his 12-yard out route sideline throws. And that's very, very concerning to me. And number 3, Ken Dorsey's gone. So that's huge. for whatever reason, he was turning Josh Allen into a pocket passer. They completely eliminated the deep ball out of his game. They eliminated the designed runs. They're turning into a play action team when they've never established the run, so the play action would never work. And nobody's going to be respecting that run game. I'm sorry, but when you fumble the ball on the first play of the drive, you are not going to open up your play action game. So just run more plays out of the gun in an empty backfield and have your best player throw the 65-yard Hail Mary like we know. And Ken Dorsey, another thing, a huge part about him getting fired is a lot of Josh Allen's interceptions. Guess who's the primary target on a lot of those picks?
Yeah, Stephon
Number
Diggs.
13, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis.
The dude doesn't know how to catch the fucking ball.
Yes, so, Mr. Stonehands.
Stonehands. When you throw it to Stephon, he's got glue hands most of the time. He's not dropping anything. So those are my 3 takeaways. 1 good, 2 bad. Allen is really concerning, I think, a lot of Bills fans. But Ken Dorsey's gone. I guess that's a good and a bad thing because now you have your quarterbacks coach that's taking over, and I think you're going to see a lot of the similar stuff, but maybe he'll open up the deep ball again. It seemed like a little desperation move, but the season's not done. They're a half a game behind Houston, so it's not like the season's out of reach. The division, that's probably another story, but you look at what's going on over there in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The Bills are having a tough time beating the bad teams, but those are the only teams the Dolphins can beat. So is the division truly lost? We got 6-7 weeks left to figure this thing out, but it's not looking good for Buffalo right now.
Yeah, and at least the bye week's not that far out. But I mean, ever since that game where we ended up whooping on Miami, it has just gone downhill. And you bring up a great point about the design runs. It's like it seems like the Bills and Dorsey, when he was still here, he got scared of letting Josh Allen run, and that's one of his strengths. He does it just as good as Lamar Jackson, if not better. And he has a better arm than Lamar Jackson.
Oh, easily.
But easily. He can throw the deep ball. But at the same time, you have to be able to hit those short and medium yard passes. And right now, it's not happening. Now, same thing. Gabe Davis, he's absolute shit right now in terms of being able to hang on to the ball.
The dude can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
Standing outside with wet hair. Yeah. It's bad.
It's like at least 3 or 4 plays I can think of, and it's like literally it's like he can't even grab his hair on his nutsack or whatever you want to call it. It's just that bad.
Stonehands
Davis. Yeah. And then on top of it, I'm like, okay, you're getting Kincaid in the mix, which is good. I mean, he's actually performing, I think, as good as what we would have expected given the fact that Dawson Knox is out. But at the same time, it's like every single team knows you're going to throw to Stephon Diggs 99% of the time. It's like, why not open that run game? Because I mean, James Cook, he busted off for some great runs after he ended up having that first fumble.
Yeah, and the 42-yarder to set up almost a game-winning drive. But exactly. I think the Bills gave him too much time on the clock to come back and kick a game-winning field goal.
They did. I mean, they left 1:55 on the clock, and that's an eternity in football.
And what? 1 timeout, 2 timeouts?
Yeah.
Well,
for a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson, you can't. I don't care what team he plays for. He's had X amount of game winning drives in his career. He'll do it again. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like the way I kind of look at this whole situation is everyone is going to point the finger and say, "Oh, Josh Allen's regressing. Josh Allen's regressing." I don't see it that way. I think it's more of just the fact that Ken Dorsey, number one, they gave the fucking guy, the offensive coordinator job. That's like giving a kid the keys to a Ferrari with no driver's license. That's number one.
I agree.
No,
he's on his learner's permit and he failed.
And you're also just too reckless. If you gave a 15-year-old kid a Ferrari without a license, he's going to be reckless with it and probably total it.
Oh, yeah, he's going to crash it.
That is what – but part of that, I also blame the GM. Nobody talks about Brandon Beane, and that concerns me. Like, no one on any – like, I'm watching the NFL Network. Everyone's like, Josh Allen this, Allen this. Well, he has been playing poorly, and that goes without saying. Yeah. Everyone's saying, well, Dorsey this, Dorsey this. Brandon Beane, take a look at Cincinnati's a perfect example. Number 1 receiver, Jamar Chase. Number 2, T. Higgins. Amazing.
Oh, that 1-2 had a combo. Field day.
A 1-2 combo. Oh, that's perfect. Go back and look at the 2006. I'll throw out the 2006 Colts, right? Let's go Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. 1-2 punch. The Bills, you have a huge drop off from 1 to 2. Stephon is your 1. Gabe Davis is your 2. The fact that you didn't go out in the first round and get a wide receiver blows my freaking mind.
Is
Like,
it
look
possible
at
maybe this year's draft class was just not that good outside of Zay Flowers?
it's possible. It's possible, but the Bills, I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. They used a first rounder to get Stephon Diggs. Now you can be the judge and tell me if that was a good decision, because if the Bills stayed where they were, they could have drafted Justin Jefferson. But that's a different story. That's a different story.
Mm-hmm. But
they used a first rounder to get a number 1 receiver.
Right.
They need a number 2 to help out Josh Allen.
Though, Trevor, I will say at that time, because you said, oh, the Bills could have took Justin Jefferson. What about the Eagles? They were one spot ahead of the Vikings, but the Eagles were just dumb as shit at that time, and they took Jalen Reagor. So there was no guarantee that
the Bills would have developed Reagor perfectly. You had a toss up at who was going to throw for you in 2020. Was it Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? The Bills had their star going into his 3rd year. But obviously that didn't even happen. Stephon Diggs, I don't even know where Jalen Reagor's playing right now, but Stephon Diggs
is, I think, somewhere in the NFL, but
he's somewhere. He might be on the waiver wire somewhere that somebody can pick up. But they made the right decision there. It's time to invest a first rounder or a second rounder and go out and get a number 2. Because your tight ends, Dawson Knox, when he's healthy this year, he was dropping a lot of passes. I'm like, what? The Bills rely on their tight ends like crazy. And then all of a sudden, they want to go out and get J.D. McKissick, right? They want to go get him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, like I can see that you want a speedy, shifty running back where you can do the check down option. They traded for Nyheim Hines, who they also wanted to use for the check down option. It's almost like Brandon Beane is making desperation moves because they don't have an identity. He wants a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this, throw it into one big soup bowl, stir it up, and turn it into a good team. You need an established identity, whether you're a run game or a balanced game or a pass game. Mm-hmm. As of right now, 5-5, 10 weeks in, the Bills have zero identity. And they didn't have one in the playoff game they lost to when they lost to Cincinnati either. They were just trying to throw everything down the field and hope Diggs would go down there and catch it. Mm-hmm. They need to establish an identity. And I don't think drafting James Cook as high as he was the best decision when you could have traded that pick and maybe another pick, maybe another player to get a number 2 receiver.
Well, I have an idea. How about instead of sucking his dick, why don't you actually draft the picks you had that you traded down for 3 times last year, trade half of those picks to the Buccaneers to get Mike Evans, and boom, there's your number 2 wide receiver.
1-2 punch. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. And all the Buccaneers have to do is say yes.
Well, that's the thing. Because Mike Evans was like, I want to finish my career in shitty Tampa Bay. And yet you have a chance to go to the fucking Super Bowl with another team. But no, he's just stubborn to the core.
But you want to know what's also kind of weird this season? Everyone wants to say, well, Josh Allen, your Super Bowl window is open. And I do think that Super Bowl window is absolutely open. But you're not getting any production out of Gabe Davis. But you look at a team like Houston, and they're getting guys named Tank Dell and Nico Collins to look like
Nico Collins. He's doing great on fantasy to look for me.
Prime Hines Ward and Antoine Randall from like 2005. Yeah, like you have a rookie quarterback slinging the ball.
Stroud's kicking ass down there.
I have no clue like how that's happening. It's just football is a weird game, but CJ Stroud is getting production out of these players who I've never heard of before this season, and then Josh Allen can't get any production out of guys he's been with for 4 straight seasons. I think that's just a concerning thing for me.
Right.
Well, except for Diggs, because Diggs catches.
Diggs shows up.
He catches one touchdown a game. It seems like every single week.
Usually. But then Gabe Davis isn't showing up. Of course, I mean Kincaid can only do so much. And then where are your other wide receiver options?
Shakir has flashes, but when Shakir makes flashes like a 20-yard catch here, 20-yard catch there. If they use him in the deep game more often, which I'm like, why don't they do it? Then I don't know, but I think he's a solid weapon because when you give him open space, he's one of the fastest players on the field. They just never throw him the ball.
Right. And then of course, let's look at the run game. When we've had flashes with the run game, Latavius Murray has been a fucking bull.
He's the best third down back.
He's the best third down back we've got.
Yep.
And then James Cook, when he's open, he can do like he did, that 42-yard run. I mean, we have some decent running backs. And then, of course, Nyheim Hines, it would have been great to see what he could have done, except for, of course, that accident where he got his ACL
Some
blown
drunk
out.
idiot didn't hit him with a jet ski. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could have been another option that we could have used, just to throw the ball and let him do.
But that's the question, though. Dorsey and McDermott wouldn't use him right.
Exactly.
Hines wouldn't see any playing time.
Right. And it's like, what do you do at that point? You got to establish an identity. And I think, a perfect example I can give you, when Peyton Manning was in the league and when he played for the Colts, which I know you follow.
Yep.
Everybody on this earth knew that the Colts were a pass team. They were very pass heavy in the offense. But the thing that they did that was smart is that they still utilized the running backs, and they were able to mix in different coverages and mix in different options. And this way they could throw off a defense with no problem. And they ended up getting that Super Bowl win with Tony Dungy. So
yeah, Bill Polian,
good things.
You guys know this. Bill Polian used to be the Bills general manager.
Yeah.
He built his team off of balanced on offense and defense. Whether you're sending the blitz, you have a strong front seven, you have an extremely strong secondary. And that was big when the last time Colts won the Super Bowl. They had Bob Sanders at safety, and obviously Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis on the two ends. Nobody was stopping that. And then you had, when you look on offense, yes, they were a pass-heavy offense. They had Harrison, Wayne, Clark, Garcon, and Brandon Stokely as your weapons. Those guys were great. Yeah. Then they also went out and they drafted these young rookie running backs from LSU and from the University of Miami, Florida, in Edgerrin James and Joseph Adai. And Peyton Manning was such a good quarterback. They were such a well-built team where even if you see James out there on the field, you have to respect that, hey, Peyton Manning might run on the 2nd and 3.
Oh, yeah.
But if he's out there, you might use him as a pawn, and Manning can open up the play action. Manning was the best play action quarterback, I think, in history, because he had such a good arm. The running backs were great, and their weapons were great. Whenever you saw Adai or James out there, you have to respect the run and the pass. It caught the defense off guard, and you can't disregard Peyton Manning's change it audible on the line of scrimmage too, changing a run to a pass.
He was great at that.
He was amazing at that. That's why they called him the sheriff. He called the shots, and that he got what he wanted. Josh Allen, this is a different day and age in the NFL. You're either a run team or a pass team. You really don't see a lot of well-balanced teams. I know like teams like Washington, they're trying this balanced out stuff, even though Sam Howell is doing pretty well as far as yards.
Let me tell you something, Trevor.
Josh Allen needs to rely on that deep ball to make explosive plays, because I don't care what anyone says, the Bills are a passing team.
Well, let me put it to you this way, Trevor. I was in Washington in September to see the Bills play the Commanders. I saw them in person, and the Commanders have no identity. Yeah, Sam Howell has a lot of potential to be a good QB. They have no offensive line.
I think he's like, 4th in passing yards?
Something like that. And by the way, thank you, Sam Howell, for helping me get a fantasy win.
Oh, but my God, they have no free my boy, Terry McLaurin. Send him home. Send him back to Naptown in Indy. I don't care what it takes. Just send him home. He grew up wearing number 88 because of Marvin Harrison. He went to high school right outside downtown. Bring him home. That's all.
Have him be the number 2 receiver behind Stephon Diggs, and we'll call it a day.
I was gonna say number 2 with Indy. You got Michael Pittman and Terry McLaurin.
You have your own receiver that doesn't even want to be there because he's not getting the ball enough.
Who?
Michael Pittman Jr.
No, Pittman's gone to a press conference and he's clarified he was just frustrated that the
producing.
Refs. I don't know if you saw that Browns Colts game from 3 weeks ago, but he was blowing off steam because the officials are absolutely lost their fucking.
Yeah, the fines are brutal this year. On top of that,
mind, and they called a pass that it wasn't even Deshaun Watson. It was PJ Walker. He threw it, almost hit the Colts mascot, almost landed in the second row of the seats, and the refs threw a pass interference flag, and that's what Pittman was pissed about. But he's verified that he was just blowing off steam, but. He needs a contract extension, but we're talking about the Bills right now.
He does. But actually, we got some comments in the chat. So our Boston friend Katie, who I know she'll probably rub it in a little bit when we talk about the Sabres in the second half. She's like, "Hey everyone, how's it going?" And she's talking about how she's 8-2 in fantasy. I'm like, well, I wish I was that, because my money league, I'm like freaking 1-8 right now.
4-6. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do have the pleasure of saying I whooped Bobby's ass like earlier this year in fantasy. So
all my players are injured. You got Justin Jefferson and Achan from the Dolphins are on my team. They're both hurt.
Yeah. It's like that in my money league. It's like anyone I brought in, and I had a good draft, but like 90% of my team is all IR at this point. It's
and
like
Achan for me was a waiver wire pickup. I picked him up right before the Denver game, and he gets 59 freaking points that week. Remember they beat the Broncos 70-20, and Achan got like 5 touchdowns and like 275 rushing yards.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Or even TJ Hawkinson got me like 35 this week. And I'm like, how is he like performing the way he is this year? I mean, he's like actually been a good fantasy pickup this year.
Man, the fact that they let him go to a division rival is stupid. So dumb.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, before I lose my thought on this, is that I just want to say real quick, yes, Tom, you are kicking ass, but regarding the whole Josh Allen thing, I know there's a lot of people out there who very strongly believe that Josh Allen is quote unquote broken. I don't think he's broken. I think it's just that he needs a different voice. And I said this to Tom yesterday or whenever it happened. And I said this to him in Cincinnati. And I said during the game that if the Bills were to move on from Ken Dorsey, which they obviously did, but at that time he was still there, I said to him was they need somebody that could challenge Josh Allen that's not even going to be buddy with him, because every single coordinator that the Bills have had on this team since he's arrived.
Yeah, he's handpicked them.
Yeah, he single-handedly picked Dorsey for the job.
He stood on the table for Dorsey. That's what's scary.
Mm-hmm.
He stood on the table for Ken Dorsey.
And then on top of it, now he's saying, "Oh, it's our fault that we got him fired." It's like number 17.
Somewhat,
no, it's not.
Somewhat,
somewhat, yes, but
it's
at
somewhat
the same
your
time,
fault, dude.
It's Dorsey's fault for not fucking planning an offense correctly.
Turning you into a pocket quarterback.
It's like
I just don't understand.
He's taking away all his weapons.
Oh, and I love this comment from Josh Allen. And let me put on my crocodile tears for this comment. You ready? I need some sad music.
Yep. The sad violin, the world's smallest violin.
Yes. Yep. So I'm going to read this to you. He said this today. I love Dorsey as a human being. He's one of the good ones. I'm sad to see him go. And the fact is, if we play better as a team, we probably don't have to make him like that. Fuck yeah! Okay.
Jeremy White said it the best. He said 12 men being on the field costed Ken Dorsey his job. If the Bills won that game and they missed that field goal and they had 11 guys on the field, Ken Dorsey would be coaching against the New York Jets this weekend.
Wow. He probably would have. And let's be honest with ourselves. I also made this comment as well. I said to Tom last week as well, I said, I really do, and I meant this too when I said it, was I hope to God that the Bills miss the playoffs this year just so that they can fire Sean McDermott faster. Because let's put it this way. Here's a theme that's going on in Buffalo right now. And you can go date back to 2017 all you want. Rick Dennison, Leslie Frazier, Brian Dable, and Ken Dorsey. What do those 4 men have in common?
They all tried to ruin, or tried not ruin's the wrong word. They all tried to limit Josh Allen's quarterback capability.
No, that's not the answer I was looking for. The answer I was looking for was they all got fired before the main problem, Sean McDermott.
I've been saying all week, Bobby, I said scapegoat. No real changes are going to be made until the head man gets fired. That's all. I mean, you can go through scapegoat usually means when you need to fire someone irrelevant to make a point, to make a statement that this is not okay. Dorsey was part of the problem, so I don't know if scapegoat is really the appropriate word.
Really,
but
I would say it's a manhunt.
The head man is next, and he knows his days are numbered.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially in irrespective of the fact that he did sign that extension, the bottom line now, okay, you fired Dorsey. Guess what?
It's irrelevant. Chris Ballard
You're on
and
the hot
Frank
seat
Reich
now.
Frank Reich was extended until 2026. He was canned in the middle of November of 2022.
Oh, the Raiders were
those contracts mean absolutely
stupid with
nothing.
Josh McDaniels, and they're still paying him for the next 5 years.
Well, McDaniels is the I would
McDaniels
say
fucking garbage.
I would say Josh McDaniels is the stupid one in that relationship.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But my point is that Sean McDermott has sacrificed all of the lambs that were in his pennant. And he's being hunted down by the media already. And he absolutely knows this. He knows that if they somehow get swapped by Zach Wilson, which I don't think that's going to happen, let's be honest.
Zach Wilson is 2-0 against Buffalo in his career.
Very true.
Yeah, at MetLife, not in Buffalo, though.
That's I forgot it was in Buffalo, yeah. So, yeah, that's right. The meltdown happened in week 1 in the Meadowlands. I forgot. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it could go either way.
I was at the UCL spring game with that shitty O-line from last year. I was at that game the week before they played the Vikings.
Oh, when that is what Ken Dorsey. Yeah, so Ken Dorsey, speaking of him, he always wanted to limit Josh Allen because they said that he injured his elbow on a designed run. Is that even true? Do we know that? Have we verified that that's true?
Well,
and then he comes in and says, my shoulder's injured. Are they not taking deep shots with him because is Josh Allen still injured?
I mean, it's possible.
Josh Allen can't hit it. He can't hit a 12-yard sideline out route accurately without it getting intercepted.
Yet he can hit 40 plus.
I'm thinking something's not right. Something's not right.
Well, I can also say the offensive line did him no favors throughout the season. I mean, let's be completely honest with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can
Spencer Brown is a joke.
Oh yeah.
Like you could say he say, she say, about Allen this, Allen that, he's this, he's overrated, he's that. It's not all Josh Allen. And people within the media need to wake the fuck up about this because at the end of the day, we know that the frustrating part about all this is that everybody in this room knows that of how good Josh Allen can be. We know he can do it. But it's the coaches. He is being mutilated to a system that he's not built for. And McDermott doesn't want to risk the injuries. I understand that philosophy, but the thing that really grinds my gears about this philosophy is that he keeps preaching it. He doesn't even bother to change anything up. Instead of saying, okay, Josh, if you see somebody that's not open, just go. Or just if you see somebody that's outside 10 yards, go. He doesn't even bother. He's like, no, you have to be a pocket passer quarterback. You're taking away one element of his game away. And McDermott is not an offensive guy. And he has the last say of any sort of control within the offense. It's utter bullshit how people are literally putting all the blame on Josh Allen. Like, is he having a down year? Without a doubt. Will the Bills likely miss the playoffs? Honestly, yes. And I hope they fucking do. So this is where they can get rid of McDermott. But there has to be a time and place where people have to just put their emotions to the side and think of the big picture here, because there's actual people out there who really believe that firing Ken Dorsey was the least of the team's issues. Like, who the fuck are you to judge what's going to happen with the team moving forward, knowing that you just gave the keys away to a guy who had no fucking idea how to drive a Ferrari, and now you want to possibly put in somebody who coached Joe Burrow in college. Hallelujah. You did one fucking thing in college. You won a national championship with Joe Burrow on an already stacked team. Like, congratulations.
It really doesn't tell you anything. I mean, Josh McDaniels won X amount of Super Bowls with the Patriots as the offensive coordinator. The final say is when the head coach gets fired. That is when the change usually starts. And personally, I don't think the Bills win a Super Bowl with Sean McDermott as their head coach. They let's listen. What if they shock the world, beat the Cowboys, beat the Chiefs, beat the Eagles? That's possible. We've seen the Bills play up to competition, but the downside is they always play down. They always play down. What if they do the unthinkable and go 12-6? And they have the tiebreaker on Miami, win the division. They go 12-6.
I would love that.
I don't think you're going to the Super Bowl, and I don't think Sean McDermott gets fired if you win the division. So it's a lot of bad stuff. Do you, this year, do you pack it up, mail it in, change the head coach? Because you still have all your pieces there. Maybe go out and get also on top of that, you don't win a lot of games, you get a solid draft position, you get a number 2 receiver, you get another linebacker, because I don't know what Von Miller's doing out there. I think he's still injured.
God.
You go out there and get a wide receiver and a linebacker. And then you mentioned he won a national championship as an offensive coordinator. You know who else won a national championship? Vince Young. Vince Young in 2005 won a national championship. What was his NFL career?
And he had one of the worst IQs on that test that you could ever imagine.
Oh my God. So did CJ Stroud, but CJ Stroud seems to adjust to the NFL just fine.
Right.
But Vince Young, I think personally his career was ruined by Jeff Fisher. And I don't want to see the same thing happen with Allen and McDermott. If you fire McDermott, you absolutely have to part ways with him, whether you win the division this year or you miss the playoffs completely.
You know what? And I've said this before. If they miss the playoffs, good fucking riddance. And I'm a Bills fan, and people have told me that, oh, I'm not a real Bills fan if I wish the team doesn't make the playoffs. Why? Because I want to see the team get better and have a malcontent coach who's clearly lost control of the room. It's so fucking obvious to the naked eye. Anybody with common sense would tell you right there and there that Sean McDermott has lost full control of that locker room. Because if you're firing 4 of your coordinators, well, to be fair, Dennis had sucked ass. That was before Allen. So
that was I mean, you absolutely had to make that move.
Yeah, Dennison gone. Yep. Fine, whatever. Dable gets an NFL job with the Giants. Frazier, overdue, gone. Dorsey, gone. He's already sacrificed all of the lambs. He's next, and he knows it. This is it for him. Because if he doesn't make the playoffs, done.
And then for all the fans, can I just address the fans that want to bring back Brian Dable? What the hell is wrong with you?
It's not happening.
What the hell is wrong with you? There are so many options out there in the NCAA, other teams in the NFL. Brian Dable he has Tommy DeVito at quarterback, okay? He has nothing going for him. But, you have one of the best running backs when he's healthy. And what do they have? 2 wins?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they are also banged up. I mean, the Giants.
Well, they are.
Oh, yeah.
But Brian Dable,
98% of their team.
Dable couldn't take you to the promised land when he was on the team. Why on earth would you bring that back?
Trevor, they went to the second round of the playoffs last year.
It's different circumstances. Like when we talk about these boys, I'd take back Lindy Ruff in a heartbeat. Dable, but Lindy Ruff was the head coach, not any coordinator, not an assistant coach. Anyone that wants to bring back Brian Dable, you are absolutely out of your mind. Because you need a guy that's not buddies with Allen, not Allen's friend. How about the Bills look outside of the organization and hire a guy who they think is good for Josh Allen? Because the guy that Josh picked turned out to be an absolute flop.
Well, I know one guy that maybe 2 on the top of my head that's a candidate for the job. Even if it's an offensive coordinator or head coach even, I have 2 candidates. My first one is Todd Monken from the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if they're going to let him go, but it's worth it. Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. That's another option. He's been circulated to be a coach for God knows how long. So now, if you bring in Ben Johnson to be the head coach to replace McDermott, perfect. You have a guy that you don't even have any correlation with Josh Allen with, and he'll push him to his points, and he will challenge him to basically say, okay, you're a triple threat quarterback. We don't need you to be staying in the pocket anymore. Just do what you got to do. Look what he's doing with Jared Goff. That guy is a monster this year.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't expect anything from Jared Goff this year, and he's been really impressing people. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the entire league.
Yeah.
He has been taking the league by storm. But I was going to say for you guys, anyone that doesn't have the last name Quinn or Shanahan or McDaniels, anyone with this friggin' offense should be able to run it and run it well. Dorsey, I don't know how. I don't know how you can mess this up. Dable, I don't know how you can mess this up. And it really makes you think. Coordinator after coordinator after coordinator. Is it a Bills problem? Is it a roster issue with Brandon Beane? Because nobody's talking about Beane not getting a number 2 receiver. Or is it a Josh Allen problem? Or is it a little bit of everything? Because I feel like
probably a little bit of everything.
If you hired me for a 16, 17 game season against Buffalo and I'm the offensive coordinator, I feel like I can get 7, 8 wins because the offense is so stacked.
Yeah. You've got your weapons.
3rd down and 1. Latavius Murray, give it to him every time. Or do a QB sneak.
Yeah.
3rd and long, 2nd and 10. Throw the 55-yard friggin' pass to Diggs.
Yeah, stretch
He's going to nail it every time. Find Kincaid wide open in the middle of the field. I feel like I could win 7 or 8 games as the OC with this team. You have to be really bad at your job to not win with this offense.
Well, Ken Dorsey is a good example.
Yeah, just like what I said. Your last name can't be Quinn, Shanahan, or McDaniels. The Bills should be fine.
Well, or how about this? How about don't hire a defensive coach? Or about this, put it this way. If the Jets let Lavasala go in any way, shape, or form, and I hope to God they do, he's a good coach. But as a defensive coordinator, if the Bills are able to snag him for whoever,
defense isn't the problem. Defense isn't the problem.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, it's not the defense. The defense is fine, even with it being short-handed. It's the culture. The culture is a problem in Buffalo. This is a 20, 30-year-old tradition now. And McDermott still praises about this trust the process bullshit, even though we've all surpassed that at this point. It's not a thing about culture. It's about elevation. It's about judgment. And it's also about confidence. It's all three of those matters. Mm-hmm. If you want to make a perfect apple pie, you need to have all those recipes to have to serve that out on dessert. I'm telling you right now, the Bills need to get an offensive guy. No defensive guys. If it's Saleh as a defensive coordinator, perfect. I will take that. But you need somebody who can get creative. You need somebody who can pretty much force the offense to be a little different, things like that. Like, yeah, they're one-dimensional when Dorsey was there, but who knows if Brady's going to be any different.
They were zero-dimensional when Dorsey was there. Oh my God. 0 dimensions.
Oh, we saw
if
that
they naturally
become,
if they become two-dimensional, perfect. You have a coordinator.
You're
but
balanced.
How long does it?
Yeah.
But how long does it last? How long does it last?
You know what? It lasts however long this window is open till. And as of right now, if the Bills need this rebound year to keep the window open, I'd take the rebound. I'm not forcing and throwing all my eggs into one basket for this year to get eliminated in the second round. And then not fire your head coach.
Well, how about this? Why don't they trade for a veteran receiver in the offseason like a Mike Evans and then draft another one in the first round?
That's what they should do. That's what they should do. And then in round 2, go get a linebacker.
Okay, there you go.
Seriously
That's
need
what they
linebacker
should
help.
do. It's not hard. It's really not. I'm like, you have all the pieces. Like the Bills, this is a good problem for them to have. It's humbling for one. And number 2, other teams in the NFL would kill to be in the position that the Buffalo Bills are in right now. Man, we make the playoffs every freaking year, but we can never get over the hump. Right. There are teams that and fan bases that just want to get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Atlanta. I mean, look at Cleveland. Look at Detroit. Look at Minnesota.
Oh, God. Oh yeah. Deshaun Watson's done for the year.
All they want to do, they seem to be fine right now with PJ Walker. Like and that defense wins championships. That's what Ray Lewis says. That defense looks good. But I bet you that they're really kicking themselves right now for not hanging on to Josh Dobbs. But
really. I mean, that's their own fucking problem. I mean, it's Cleveland. You know what though? Speaking of that, I'm glad you brought up Josh Dobbs. You know who else should have gotten Josh Dobbs, but they're instantly shooting themselves in the foot, and I love making fun of them for it, is the Jets. I absolutely loved it when the Jets did not get Josh Dobbs. Fuck the Jets. Fuck everything they've ever preached. Fuck Aaron Rodgers and his ego, mind you. Fuck everything the New York Jets ever
his
said.
Magical mushrooms.
Oh yeah, how he's all of a sudden, I'm gonna be back in like 3 weeks.
Well, dude, he has always been like that in his career. Remember when was he playing against Chicago with a bad hamstring? Something like that. And then he came back 2 weeks later. As soon as he tore his Achilles, he's walking on it 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
like he's literally walking on it.
Ball in practice. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, he's always. Like, I think that's just good genetics. Screw the whole mushroom thing. He has rehab from injuries really fast, and that's just a part of his history.
I will say this. I'm not a doctor, but with you tossing the ball around like you normally would at practice has nothing to do with a torn Achilles because he's been able to do that for 20 years. So I don't think
How many games has Big Ben played in a boot? How many games has he played on a bad leg?
Yeah, but Big Ben never really ruptured any major, ligaments in his muscles on his legs.
He was blessed. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Aaron Rodgers is 40. Jets fans, Trevor, I'm telling you, I have Jets fans in this area. They are so fucking annoying. I
believe it, man. You're over in Long Island. Of course, you're in Jets Giants country.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. It's like it's literally, I'm not joking, and I'm not trying to be mean because I'm in this category. Jets fans and Giants fans are like 2 kids with Down syndrome trying to fight for superiority. I'm not kidding.
I mean, that's definitely a way to put it for sure. I'll I personally, I feel bad for both fan bases, if I'm going to be completely real.
Giants, I feel bad for them. The Jets can go fuck
The
themselves.
Jets did it to themselves, though.
Exactly.
They did this. They signed the contract with HBO. Everyone knows that's a curse. Hard Knocks.
Yep.
Come on. Everyone knows that's a curse. Look at the Rams in 2016. No, 2017. And then the next year they go to the Super Bowl. When they're off of Hard Knocks.
Right.
Like, are you freaking kidding me?
Or remember what happened when Rex Ryan was the coach of the Jets and he had that nice little segment called "Let's Go Get a Fucking Snack." And then of course
Sanchez and Santonio Holmes. Yep.
And then of course the butt fumble, the foot fetish, the tattoo on the ass, and everything else.
Signing LaDainian Tomlinson skeleton, signing Brett Favre skeleton. Yep. I remember all that stuff. Wow. But
and Rex Ryan got fired not too long after that.
And then Terry decides let's bring him in here with Tyrod Taylor and let's run it. So
and
that's Fox trading for LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, and then he destroyed our defense by switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4 scheme when we had Jim Schwartz here.
Well, to be fair, Shady was a monster with the Bills.
Yeah, he was. Because I mean, first of all, didn't they fleeced Philadelphia, no, in that trade?
Yeah, at that time. Yeah, for Kiko Alonso.
Kiko.
Yeah, Kiko Alonso's not even around.
Kiko Alonso was my favorite player before that trade, okay? I like Kiko Alonso.
Well, you go back to 2011, he had the game of his life against Baltimore, where he had like 4 turnovers by himself.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was wild.
And then, of course, I remember when he blew his ACL out. So
he did that like 20 times in his career.
Yeah.
And then he almost like decapitated Joe Flacco when he played in Miami. It was rough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun times.
But I think, the point I'm trying to make, obviously, is Jets fans are obnoxious. Giants fans, I don't feel too bad for because, I feel bad for them for the incompetent ownership. But the Jets, I don't feel bad for. And Aaron Rodgers has the audacity to say, well, the Giants suck. Nobody talks about us. Like, Aaron, you suck for a reason. The Jets are the shitty reason that you're in. Is because they put all their eggs in one basket. They bought a load of condoms, decided to make it into a balloon animal, and shoved it up your rabbit hole, then make it seem like it was a hat.
Accurate. Yep. Well, you know what? Aaron Rodgers is probably still a little salty about the was it the first round in 2012 when the Giants played the Patriots in the second time they faced against each other in the Super Bowl? Yeah. Remember the Packers went like 15-1 that year, and then the Giants beat them in the first round?
Yes.
And then Kyle Williams fumbled the freaking ball when the 49ers should have gone to the Super Bowl, and then Eli wins another ring. I remember all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, I was in high school when that happened.
Yep. To answer your question,
that's still fresh in my mind. Like, if this happened, we could have had a fun Super Bowl. Like, I honestly think Drew Brees versus Tom Brady in 2019, if the refs throw a pass interference flag, would have been one of the best Super Bowls to ever have in NFL history. But you ended up having Jared Goff and Tom Brady in one of the most boring games in NFL history. Yep. And then Alex Smith and the 49ers against Tom Brady, I think would have been better than Eli versus Brady part 2. But what can you do? You can't change anything. Can't change the past.
Yeah, for sure. But that being said, actually, Katie had 2 other comments. So she ends up asking, is Buffalo cursed? We'll actually deal with that in just a moment. And then she also ends up mentioning, all hell the Buffa Slug. So she's actually
the Buffa Slug. Trevor, fuck you for wearing that on the show.
I love the Buffa. We didn't have a statistically we didn't have a bad season wearing the Slugs. The Eastern Conference was just loaded in 2008, 2009, 2010. We didn't have a season below 92 points in the Slug. So like it or not, that's better than this other midnight blue crap we had.
Yeah.
Like, give me the goat head all day. That's all.
Goat head superiority. The red jersey is the best jersey they've ever worn.
Yeah.
Well, we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, the butter knives or the crossing swords, whatever you want to call it, like that was the best uniform they've ever worn.
Don't be surprised in a couple of years when we get to part 2. Don't be surprised if those become like the full-time uniforms next year or 2 years.
I'd be fine with that.
Just tell me when I'd buy season tickets.
Yeah. Hell, I'll buy another jersey. So that being said, part 1 of Buffalo 2 is going to end now. Part 1 is going to end now. Stay here for part 2. I'm Tom Wujek, co-host of Buffalo After Dark. Founded by Matthew Keeler, Dishin is a Buffalo-based fashion label focusing on continuous experimentation in hockey. Their work consists of products, content, and experiences that inspire creativity. Playful curation provides energy that sparks a unique perspective and an ideology around seeing the game differently. Now you can save. Log on to justdishin.com and use promo code WUJEK at checkout. You'll save 10% on all of your purchases. That is spelled WUJEK. Dishin has built an influential following devoted to the infusion of creative expression through high-quality goods and tasteful collaboration. If you love creative products that push the boundaries, check out Dishin. Visit their website at justdishin.com.
This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark.
And of course, we are back with part 2 of Buffalo After Dark. Of course, you got Bob, you got Trevor here joining us for the first time in a while. Good to see you back. And
yes,
of course, if you want to call in, 929-205-6099, or you can join us on the Facebook chat. And now that we've gotten through our vending of our frustrations with the Bills, let's vent our frustrations about the Sabres, because I will tell you, what I saw last night was brutal. Tage Thompson's going to be out with the wrist for a while. And on top of that, it's bad enough he got knocked out of the game even prior with a leg injury, but the Bruins just dominated us.
That wasn't even called. A slew foot trip that wasn't even called. And it really doesn't even matter. I got a lot of stuff to say about the Sabres team. Even if we were given that power play, this crap team is not doing anything on the power play. I'm telling you that right now. I just have build-up frustration from the Sabres right now. If you can just give me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, go for it.
Just like 5 minutes. Last year, I felt like I was the good luck charm at the Sabres games. I went to 15 home games. You're going to say, Trev, they had a horrible, horrible home record last year. I saw 13 wins out of the 15 games I went to. Only games I saw lost were the Colorado game where Nate McKinnon scored a freaking hat trick on us, and the Devils game where we were wearing those reverse retro jerseys, the blue and gold goat head.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the only 2 losses I saw. I was at the first goat head night against St. Louis. That was one of my favorite games I ever went to. I was at fan appreciation night on Craig Anderson's final home start.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, I was at the home opener and I saw JJ Paterka's first NHL goal. I went to a ton of great games last year. And then, I'm like 93 points. If we do this in the offseason, if we just make a couple moves here, this team has the potential to be on the rise. And I believed in Don Granato. And for just a split second, I had belief and I had faith in Kevin Adams. And I'm like, my God, we are riding the ship. We're looking good. Staying faithful to the team, because who else am I going to root for? We've had season tickets from 2006 to 2017, and when we got rid of those, we're still watching every game. We're StubHubbing tickets. We're still going to the arena. It just wasn't worth it to go to 41 games a year anymore, because we were having a tough time selling those platinum games, the gold games, whatever, like the Toronto games. We had a tough time selling those. But then I go into this offseason. I see we bring back Kyle Okposo. I see we bring back Zemgus Girgensons. For what? For what? Kyle Okposo, congratulations. You are a nice dude. You're a great locker room guy. 1,000 games after the ICU scare that happened in 2017. The fact that you got to 1,000 games is nothing short of incredible and astonishing, and we thank you for that. We appreciate that. That's a great hockey story right there.
But you could fuck off now.
But that is the reason why the dude from the Harbor Center that you hired to be your GM brought you back, because he wants a good story. Kyle Okposo came back. Zemgus Girgensons, these guys can't even skate. They are skating in concrete. They're skating in cement skates. And then we're going to start throwing out extensions to Dylan Cousins, who's done jack crap this season. We're going to sign Owen Power to 8 freaking years to do absolutely what? Turn the puck over in front of the net 5 times a game. That's cool. Dahlin, I understand that one. Dahlin is the vocal leader. He's your heartbeat in the locker room. He's a great player. I understand that. Jeff Skinner was signed to a massive contract, 4 years ago? And he's been playing up to that contract. He had almost, 50 goals last year or 40 goals last year?
Yeah, he was up there, like mid-30s.
He was crazy good last year. I think he had his best.
But hold on. But where does that leave Tage Thompson to, though? Where does that leave Tage then?
Tage Thompson, I think, is a great player. 47 goals last year is freaking phenomenal. But this year before the injury, he was an assist machine. He turned into Sam Reinhart all of a sudden, and we didn't see him. My question, and then Kevin Adams did not go out and get a veteran goalie. He didn't do that, and that is huge. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen decided last year, nah, I'm not going to play up to competition. This year, for sure, when our offense is bad, I'm going to step up and play really good in goal when I'm thrown in there, which I don't understand. He's having a way better season, and I give him a lot of credit for that. I think he should start this Friday in Winnipeg, absolutely, on this Western road trip that they have coming up. He should start. But the fact that Kevin Adams is confident in giving a kid who is just legal age to drink in the United States, you're handing him the keys to the city, and he's going to be your starting goalie for 60 out of 82 games. He's never played in the AHL level before. You didn't go out and you didn't trade for a veteran goalie. You didn't trade for a veteran forward. You're handing out, Kevin Adams turned into Oprah Winfrey. You get an extension. You get an extension. You get an extension for what? That is what I'm so concerned about. And I said it semi as a joke in June before everything was really popping off. I said, boy, if this team doesn't make any moves, it would be the most Buffalo thing ever to go from 93 points and being 2 points out of a playoff spot to getting 78 points the next year.
And being completely out.
And being completely out by Christmas time. And when I saw the deadline pass, or when I saw everybody making moves in the offseason, the Sabres are signing, my God, don't even get me started on these two clowns too. Eric Johnson and Connor Clifton, who absolutely cannot play hockey to save their lives. And Eric Johnson's going to go to the locker room and talk to Paul Hamilton after the Calgary game and say, yeah, I was hyping up everyone in the defensive department. I was saying this is not acceptable. Eric Johnson, wake up and smell the coffee. You suck too. So I don't know who you're talking to. Connor Clifton is horrible. He's absolutely horrendous.
First off, why was he talking to Captain Diabetes of all people?
That's a different topic. I was saying you signed 2 defensemen. Those were your offseason moves. We're not going to sign a veteran forward.
And they're not even good defensemen.
We're going to extend Dylan Cousins because he had I like Dylan Cousins. I think he's a solid player.
You just called him ass just a few minutes ago.
He's been ass this year. He's been instigating fights against Philadelphia and getting concussions this year. That's what he's been doing. He turned into I don't know, an upgrade version of an Evander Kane last year. Except he wasn't as streaky. He was a physical guy that would score goals in the clutch, but he did it way more consistent than Kaner did. You're handing out all these extensions. You're not signing a goalie. I saw this coming. I called this. I said they didn't make any freaking moves. They're handing the keys to the city to a 21-year-old kid who's never played goalie in Rochester. The reason why he looked great in those 7 games last year is because nobody had NHL film on him. Nobody knew his weaknesses.
Well, and plus everybody else was hurt.
All I'm saying is, Donnie Granato, you lost the locker room too. Kyle Okposo stinks, and he's playing every shift. Dylan Cousins stinks, and he's playing every shift. Jeff Skinner, I don't know if you guys saw the clip on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it's called now, X. Whatever it's called, on the second Boston goal last night. The goal that Pasternak scored on the 3-on-2. Did you guys see that goal?
Yeah, I did.
Look at what Jeff Skinner is doing. Look at what Jeff Skinner is doing in that clip. He's standing at center ice, cherry picking. He's waiting for the puck to get turned over, to be passed over to him so he can go in on a breakaway. People are saying that his Xbox controller died and his player is just standing there.
Yeah, seriously.
If this was a John Tortorella-led team, a Lindy Ruff-led team,
God, yeah,
he would be up in the fucking press box in the next game for that. Kyle Okposo would be in the press box next game. Patrick Kane would have been signed freaking 10 days ago.
Oh, let's talk about that, because there is a possible rumor he might be coming here.
And I was definitely going to get into that next, but I'm telling you guys right now, Tage Thompson being out, Players are not being held accountable. Don Granato is everyone's friend in the locker room. Kevin Adams is everyone's friend in the locker room. We're all holding hands by the fire saying kumbaya. We are picking in the top 10 this year if this crap continues. If we're not going to hold anybody accountable, this Sabres team is getting a top 10 pick, and let it be known, this July I called it. I said this team is getting 82 points or less.
Well, I have a suggestion. Why don't they fire Granato? If things go south by Christmas, bring in Gerard Gallant as an interim coach, because Granato's been here for what?
I would totally be
4 years.
Real. I mean, what's his face is coaching extremely well. I think it's in Hamilton or Kitchener. Jay McKee, have him do your interim head coach, and then go find a new guy.
No,
because
no, I'm just gonna stop you right there. Because bringing in a junior head coach is the worst possible idea you could do. And the main reason I say this is because, for one, he coaches junior hockey. And two, a lot of veterans are not going to buy into the system. So why don't you get somebody who has somewhat of experience that is
very
in the
funny.
NHL?
It's very funny that you mentioned that, too, because that brings me to my other point. Michael Pekka was on the Rochester Amerks coaching staff last year. Do you know where he is now?
Mm-hmm. He's with the Rangers. I know exactly where he is.
Do you know who our assistant coach we replaced him with? Or the next step above was supposed to be Michael Pekka is going to be an assistant coach for the Sabres in 2023-2024. The Sabres don't bring him back. We hire a guy
stuck with Matt Ellis,
who's coaching 16-year-olds freaking peewee hockey in Matt Ellis. This is the most unserious hockey team, and people wonder, why has it been 12, 13 years since we've gone to the playoffs? I was in 4th grade the last time we went to the playoffs. Tyler Ennis scoring in Game 5 against Philadelphia in what, 2011, I think it was the last time. April 20-something 2011 was the last time we won a playoff game. 2007 was the last time we won a series.
Yeah, that's beyond screwed up. And actually, Katie had a couple comments for you. So first, Bobby, she's taking a shot at you. She says, fuck you, Bobby. The Buffalo Slug slaps. And then she also
says, guess what? How about this? Eat my chode, okay? Let's put it that way.
Listen, the Buffalo Slug we had some pretty damn good players wearing the Buffalo Slug. Pretty underrated players, too.
You know why I despise the Buffalo Slug? It's because it reminds me of the Omen from not bringing back Danny Briere or Chris Drury. Okay, that was the last.
That was
fair,
brutal.
But it also reminds me of when we had a sense of direction on defense, when we could actually throw a body check, when we had Craig Rivet, Steve Monador, Chris Butler, when we had freaking spot check. I was thinking of Sekera, but he was the worst defenseman in Sabres history.
Oh God, don't remind me.
I will say this: I do not like the charging banana, and it's not a slug; it's a fucking banana that's charging up in the air.
I think it looks like a slug.
It's a banana.
No. And then she also ends up saying, "I'm sorry about Thompson." And then she also says, "I love Rasmus," and then I love my goalies. Well, yeah, Allmark whooped our ass last night. But that being said, it could be worse. It could be Victor Olofsson, who does nothing whatsoever, and he's just a waste of a roster spot.
Victor Olofsson is a mystery box.
Take your pick. He turns into prime Wayne Gretzky when the game's already lost. He scored 2 goals last night when we were down 5-0. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even see the second goal. We left halfway through the third period. I didn't even see it. We heard it on the main concourse walking out of the arena. We heard the horn go off. We're like, oh, cool, sweet. We made it 5-2 instead of 5-1.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
like, oh, big wow, we already lost it, and there was only like 2 minutes left anyways. So it's like wrong timing. Olofsson, you show up when you choose to show up, and it doesn't help anybody. But
my questioning of the direction of this team is the coaching, and why the hell are we bringing the same players back this year from last year, a team that didn't even make the playoffs? Like, we were 2 points out, but we brought everyone back and gave them extensions. Yeah, we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't have 106 points like our good friend Lindy Ruff did last year with the Devils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you look at teams, you look at a fan base like us. We are so devoted. Our fans, for the most part, most of them, I'd say they're all pretty loyal until they hop on like a Washington or a Pittsburgh or a Chicago wagon when they've been doing well over the past 10 years. LA as well, the Kings, that they grew a huge fan base here in Buffalo. I'm like, oh, I wonder where these Kings.
Yeah, really.
I think we lost him for a second.
Yeah, it might have froze up a little bit.
Well, I hope he gets back to us pretty soon. But either way, he does bring up a point, and that is the fact that the Sabres are just this directionless, like, yeah, they really are. And I don't understand why they play this kumbaya bullshit, because Kevin Adams, I like him as the GM, but I feel like he's not doing enough. And Trevor brings up a great point. He really did. And it's a matter of fact that they didn't go out and get a veteran goalie to mentor Levi. They didn't even bother, number one. There's Trevor. Hey,
I lost you there. Where did I leave off on my tangent there?
I don't even know.
Okay, I'll restart.
I know you were talking about like how we missed the playoffs by 2 points and just basically how we did absolutely nothing when we really should have used that as an opportunity.
I was worried there for a second because both of you guys were frozen, and then when I stopped talking, nobody responded, and it just kind of booted me out. But I'll restart again. So the 2014 playoff, Dallas makes it. They go to the finals. They lose to Tampa Bay. Dallas fires their head coach, Lindy Ruff, for not executing in the finals. We give everyone extensions for missing the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
There is your...
That's
Dallas
the problem.
wants to win. Dallas wants to win. Buffalo is unserious about winning. And that goes without saying. Dallas is going to fire their head coach for losing in the Cup Finals. I would pay so much money to watch this team go to the finals again. I've never in my lifetime. They've never been to the finals when I've been alive. They went in 1999. I was born in 2000. I've never seen this team go to the finals. But we're giving everyone extensions for missing the playoffs. Congratulations. Here's your consolation prize. 7-year deal here. 8-year deal here. Owen Power, this is more than just a sophomore slump. This guy turns the puck over in front of his own net 5 times a game. I'm not even joking. He turns it over 5 times a game. Devin Levi is our 21-year-old starting goalie.
Mm-hmm.
What are we thinking?
Yeah. Or even 2 other examples I can think of. Gerard Gallant gets fired from the Vegas Golden Knights after he had a hell of a good run with them.
They go to the finals, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't good enough. Or Bruce Boudreau gets fired from the Caps after he had the really good, solid run with that team for the time he had.
Claude Julien in Boston.
Yeah. Peter Laviolette. Same thing.
Well, I think Claude Julien got fired out of Boston for having left a little petty mess, and he was the lead to the team's issues at the time, because the Bruins are run by a bunch of boys clubs. Seriously, that's what the Boston Bruins were run by.
Well, but I want the Sabres to drink out of that fountain that the Bruins are drinking out of. Oh my God, 12-0-1 in their first 13 games. They don't have a regulation loss.
I have no faith in the Boston Bruins. I'm just saying that right now. And that's dating back to like the last 15 years. The only reason that Boston won the Cup in 2011 was because they outchoked Vancouver. Let's be honest. I was
going to say they had a cursed team out west that they were facing against in the finals.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
But I mean, Boston has a great problem to have. They get over 100 points every year. They go to the playoffs every year. Their problem is, how can we finish this thing? Right. The Sabres is, how can we be watchable in front of our home fans?
Well, you want to be here's something for you. Try being a fucking Islander fan, having to watch a bunch of geriatric players that are in their mid-30s, early 40s with no system in play. You trade away your first-round picks like candy.
I guess the Sabres are young, so there's a positive, I guess, right there. They can learn from this.
Yeah, it gets worse, because then Lou Lamoriello, who's like 87 years old, who hasn't died yet, surprisingly, and on top of all that, they fired Barry Trotz after one fucking year of missing the goddamn playoffs, and then you replace him with his cocksucker in Lane Lambert.
He don't care. He's got that big shiny Washington Capitol ring right here. He don't care about getting fired. He don't care. But there's a thing that I wanted to say, and the Islanders probably do this well. It seems like every team does this well when they're playing Buffalo. Buffalo is the only team in the NHL that I'm aware of that's mentality is dump and chase. 1989 style hockey, and oh my God, it makes me so upset. Our motto is dump chase. We can be on an odd man rush, a 4-on-2. What do? We dump it in, we get out muscled.
Yeah.
No one dumps it. This is not 1991 anymore. We're not playing in the odd. Okay, dump and chase doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not the old Peter DeBoer style of the Devils from way back.
For real. All the rink sizes are the same. The one thing about the odd was the rink was a little bit smaller than most of the NHL rinks. That was why you had guys
rink.
like LaFontaine and McGillney fly up and down the ice super fast, because that rink was small.
Yeah, it was only like 185 feet or something like that. So, I mean, you had a lot less room to work with, which here's a tangent, by the way, too. So, of course, McGillney's eligible for the Hall of Fame again this year. Ryan Miller's actually eligible for the Hall of Fame this year. And all I can say is
Barrasso and Turgeon.
Yep. Glad to see them get the nod. But I swear to God, if Alexander McGillney does not end up in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to fucking break something, because he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but what do? We dump and chase, right? We never get the puck. Exactly. Also, how many Bruins goals last night? I was kicking thank God the seat was empty. I was kicking the empty chair in front of me. Mm-hmm. How many times are the Bruins going to be basically standing in our crease trying to shovel in a rebound because Owen Power won't check a player, because Rasmus Dahlin won't check a player, because Connor Clifton won't check a fucking player? How many our defense is soft. We don't throw body checks. We get out body. Casey Middlestat gets shoved off the puck so
he should have been gone a long time ago.
Oh my God. You should have traded him last year when he had peak value. You could still trade him now.
Exactly.
But you know what? I want a defenseman that can lay body checks.
Right.
I need a Brian Campbell. I need a Craig Rivet. I need a Steve Monador. I need an Alex fucking Zhitnik.
I have a better one. Mm-hmm. I have a better one. How about Nikita Zadorov? And I know they traded him like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
But he's not afraid to hit somebody.
He's not afraid.
You know what? A forward that can lay hits. We also traded JT Compher. We could use him too.
Hell, if Zach Cashin didn't retire, bring him back. At least he'll fight somebody.
Well, that's a different story. Darcy Regier taking him over Derek Stepan in the draft. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was insane.
You know what's the really sad part about all this is we can go on and on about the woes of the Sabres, but here's the sad reality about all this. Darcy Regier was probably the best GM the Sabres had in the last 30 years.
Without question. Rhett Warner for Chris Drury, Chris Gratton for Danny Briere. Without question.
Great move.
He was,
Eric Daze for Dominic Hasek. Oh, no. Sorry, that wasn't Rick here. Sorry.
Was it Eric Bolton for JP Dumont? I'm pretty sure.
Something like that. Well, actually, Bolton got sent down in the expansion draft, though, to the Thrashers, if I remember right.
Right. Yeah, didn't he go to Chicago too? Because we got JP from Chicago. We sent somebody over.
Yeah, JP. No, because JP played for the Islanders. Because I remember him.
That's
playing.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Oh no, the most famous one was Tim Connolly for Michael Pekka. That was one. That was the one I remember.
Yeah, and Connolly was beyond hurt all the time with all the concussion problems. Yeah,
God, he had the best hands.
And you know what really bothers me too is that even though as dumb as a fucking moron that Darcy Regier was, you know who else was as dumb as a rock as a moron?
Tim Murray?
No, fucking Mike Milbury. Mike Milbury. Mike Milbury could suck a fat dick.
Rick DiPietro. Infinite years.
15. Yeah. They had to pay him for what? At least 15 years or something?
Actually, no. Mike Milbury did not sign that contract. That was actually Garth Snell, find you.
Well, I'll tell you the most dumbass.
Oh,
let me tell you.
Steve Shields, bitch. Garth
Snell. No.
Yeah.
I got a better one. Bear with me here. So this was Mike Milbury in a nutshell. And this is why the Islanders were so bad at the level where the Sabres are now. Except the Sabres are younger, obviously. But at the time frame, this is how bad the Islanders were. Ready? You trade the number 2 overall pick to the Ottawa Senators in 2001. Stay with me here. Do you know who that pick was?
2001. I have no idea.
Jason Spezza.
Wow, dude.
And you know what the Islanders got in return? They gave up Bill McCall, and they gave up the number 2 pick for Jason Spezza. And that's on top of that, getting Alexi Ashton in return. Oh, no. Let me kick you with the balls even more. How about trade Trevor Linden for Todd Bertuzzi?
Oh, God.
Yeah. More. I got more. You ready? Here's another one.
Bringing in Marc-Andre Bergeron to play defense?
No. How about trading Roberto Luongo to the Florida fucking Panthers for Mark Parrish and Oleg Kavaja? And let me tell you something. Oleg Kavaja did nothing on the Islanders for many, many years. And yet Mark Parrish, who was like one of the best players they had for many, many years.
Bobby, if you want to make this a pissing contest, I can one up you right here.
Do it. I dare you.
The Sabres selecting TJ Brennan over PK Subban.
Oh, that was stupid.
You want to talk about it? Yeah, I have a better one. How about drafting
Brian Campbell for Steve Bernier? Yeah, remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember that one for sure.
I still remember when he laid out RJ Umberger. That was one of the greatest open ice hits I can remember in a long time.
And then in the next season, he fought him. In the next season, we're in the Buffa Slug. He fought him at center ice and beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
And then Umberger got destroyed when he was with the Columbus Blue Jackets after that.
It's like, Jesus Christ. I feel like
laid out again.
I feel like the Sabres and the Islanders back in the mid 2000s and early 2010s were equal, and they're all right.
They were smoking the crack pipe in the mid 2000s there. But if we're gonna circle back, it's the same problems from last year. The reason that kept you out of the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, our offense last year, I told everyone we're not going to duplicate that. That was lightning in a bottle for last year. And if we're not making the playoffs this year, they're not going to replicate that next year. I mean, scoring 5-6 goals a game, that's unheard of.
Yeah,
we're having the same problems that prevented us from making the playoffs last year. Our power play sucks. We can't win an offensive zone faceoff. We can't win a faceoff to begin with. The only thing about our team that's keeping us within not losing every game 12-0 is our penalty kill. Yeah, that's about the only thing.
That's the only highlight of the season so far. Penalty kill's been a lot better.
We don't throw body checks. Our players on breakaways. Jeff Skinner doesn't shoot the puck on breakaways. Apparently, I was at the Philadelphia Flyers game where we lost 5-1 in the Goat Heads. Dude's on a clear-cut breakaway, doesn't shoot.
It's like, why would you?
What are you waiting for? And Jeff Skinner I think he's our points leader this year because our depth is just not there.
Yeah.
And if you're paying a guy $8 million per year, I hope he leads your team in points, which is good. But it's the same problems. Can't win a faceoff. Power play's crap. We can't make body checks. Don Granato's not holding his players accountable. Olofsson should be in the press box every night. See ya. Gergensen should be off the roster. Okposo should be off the roster. Eric Johnson should be off the roster. Connor Clifton should be off the roster. Yep. It's the same freaking problem. Zach Benson, you're also going to give the keys to the city to an 18-year-old kid? He's not going to see any AHL time? When Yuri Kulik has been developing. Isaac Roseanne has been developing.
Roseanne,
however you. I don't know.
Roseanne.
Zach Benson is an 18-year-old kid. Yeah. And then he's hurt. We call up Matt Savoy. He plays 4 minutes and gets sent to fucking junior.
Yeah.
You know what?
And then people are surprised. Why is this team not in playoff conversation? I just gave you 15 reasons why they suck.
Exactly.
No one should be shocked. The reason why I'm so animated and pissed off is because we've had 12 years of this and 2 rebuilds.
Yeah. And they're still not making it work.
No. And you know what? I actually do have a theory. I mean, you might put on the aluminum hat, whatever you want to put on my head.
The tinfoil.
I have a theory. Yeah, the tinfoil hat. Thank you. I actually do have a theory behind the whole Zach Benson thing. I don't really think he's injured. I think the Sabres are holding on to him because they don't want to waste the 9-game stint with him because they want to keep him on the team. That's my theory. Yeah. I don't think he's really injured because when was the last time we heard any sort of report about Zach Benson? Saying,
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't even know.
Yeah, they don't want to repeat
you're proving my point.
It's the same thing with Alex Tuck. He goes down with a phantom injury. I don't even know what part of the body he injured, but he might play Friday, according to Don Granato.
And nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on with him.
And don't even get number 19 that wears blue and gold. Don't get me started on this fucking bum either. Oh my God, Peyton Krebs is the laziest player on the Buffalo Sabres. This dude stinks. We traded away our captain, who just won a Stanley Cup in Vegas, for Alex Tuck, who's getting phantom injuries. He had a great year last year, not taking that away from him. Peyton Krebs should be in Rochester. Devin Levi. I don't
give him time in the AHL.
I don't know who I'm going to offend saying this, and I really don't care. Rochester. Devin Levi, go to Rochester. You should have signed a goalie with UPL. Because good goalies, Ryan Miller developed thank God we had the lockout year in 2004. Yeah. Ryan Miller polished his stuff in Rochester. Levi can do the same thing, but he's only 21. He needs time to grow. Yeah. If you want him to get to elite status, it's going to take 3 or 4 seasons.
Right. And it was the case with Miller, where it really took him like 3 to 4 really good development years to get him to where he was. And then he was solid after that.
Exactly. And then throwing him in games like this, and he's given up 3, 4, 5 goals per start, and your defense is giving you no support. You know what kind of treatment he's getting? He's
Rub
getting
him in
the
there.
he's getting the Mikhail Grigorenko treatment. He is going to lose confidence in himself, and he is going to turn into a piss poor player. He needs to be in Rochester. Mikhail Grigorenko they were comparing him to be the next Max Afinogenov.
Yeah.
We threw him into he
we threw
wasn't
him to
even
the
close
wolves.
to being ready. No. And then Casey Middlestat could have been a lot better, but we forced him into the organization really fast.
Yeah.
Alex Nylander. Remember that name?
Oh,
Nylander?
yeah.
He could have been, I don't know. He
could have been much better than he was.
He was a bit of a head case, but he could have been better if he played more games in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
That's our problem. We like to force our guys up here, and then we're bringing up Savoy, and then we're gonna send him back, and then we're gonna send up Benson, and then he's gonna get hurt, right? He's gonna get injured, and then Yuri Kulik, Tage Thompson goes down. Two inevitable moves should be made at Seymour H. Knox III Plaza in downtown Buffalo, signing Patrick Kane and calling up Yuri Kulik. It's not hard. I don't understand. It's not a hard concept. It really isn't.
Very, very true. And actually, Katie mentions one thing, and she wanted to rub salt into the wound with the Boston Bruins. She said, 12-1-2 to be exact, and stay mad. And then
12-1. You know what? All props to Boston.
Hey, Katie, I have a question for you because you're so braggadocious about your fucking record. How many playoff games did you win last year?
I give all the we didn't play any playoff games last year, but
the point is
talking
about
Boston. Well, Boston got swept, but
but I give them and their fans credit. Kyle Okposo, and then oh my God, where else do you want me to say? I could go off on this tangent too. Right over there on my wall, I have a population of Pominville 1000 hanging up on the wall. I went to his 1000th game against Ottawa where they blew the friggin' doors off of him like 9-1. I was at that game where he almost scored a hat trick. RJ Knight was a sellout. Ryan Miller Knight was a sellout. Ryan Gianta's 1000th game, I was there too. I have a rally towel somewhere around here from that game. That was a sellout.
Yeah.
Kyle Okposo playing 1,000 games. Our attendance last night, I was listening to Brian Cozio on WGR, 13,840 fans, and half of them were friggin' Boston fans.
Yeah,
they don't care about
that.
The true fans that pay their season tickets, that pay $20 to friggin' park at the KeyBank Center. They don't care about Kyle Okposo.
Exactly.
The keyboard warriors, the Twitter warriors that don't pay a dime for their cable bill and they don't pay a dime for tickets, they're the ones that say, well, we should keep Kyle Okposo around. He's a nice guy. He doesn't do crap on the ice.
He should have been gone at least 3 seasons ago.
And the Sabres, whenever they have a special night like that, they always show up. They always show up. That was crap. I paid... The Pagulas knew that the fans don't give a freaking crap about this guy because they had a promotion yesterday. The only reason why I was at the game was because they had $21 tickets for number 21. I paid $21 for last night's game.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I was there. They don't give a freaking crap about Kyle Okposo. And if the Sabres are going to play like that on his night, they don't care about him either. Exactly. And notice how in every post game you listen to, I listened to Darlene talk about Okposo last night, and what's his name? I listened to Jeff Skinner talk about Okposo last night, and maybe 4 other players in the post game. Not once did any of them say he's such a great hockey player. When they describe Kyle Okposo, they say he's a nice guy. We call him dad in the locker room because he's like our dad. He's a shoulder to cry on. He's a father figure. Not once did they ever mention he's a good hockey player, and I think that speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, 100%
Well,
right.
I mean, to be fair though, Trevor, he's like 37 years old.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's your captain, and I've never heard a Sabres player once say he's a great hockey player when describing him. If they said describe Kyle Okposo in one sentence, and I was a player on that team, I'd say he's our captain. He's a damn good player.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would 100%. Say.
I will say this, though. When he was on the Islanders, he did a lot of great work within the community for 10 years. And he showed up in every game in his prime with the Islanders. And keep in mind, this is before the Sabres. So he was everywhere with John Tavares. He was buddy-buddy with Matt Molson. He got along with everybody in the locker room.
Thomas Vanek probably, too.
Well, Thomas Vanek, not really. But Thomas Vanek.
I remember that Molson trade, yeah. And
God,
they were on the team for maybe 2 years before Okposo was sent over here.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, very true. And actually, Katie wanted to mention one other thing, and she basically directed this to you, Bobby. So she said the Bruins at least can make the playoffs, so you can go suck a big fat one.
That's very true.
But
oh yeah,
there are.
So hold on. So you're gonna tell me the Bruins make the playoffs? Yeah. So why should I be so glorified with your 65 fucking win regular season, the greatest team of all time that you entitled yourself with, and you just laid the biggest fucking egg in front of the whole
against
world
the Florida Panthers of all
to
teams.
the worst projected team in the playoffs last year.
There are 6th graders, Bobby, that have never seen Sabres playoff hockey. They've never been alive for playoff Sabres hockey.
Man. Let me tell you something else. The Bruins in 3 years, maybe 2, are going to be worse than the Red Sox are right now. Let's put it that way.
I will never count the Bruins out anymore. I thought when they lost Patrice Bergeron and they lost all these players, I thought they were going to have a rapid decline. I'm never counting out the Bruins ever again.
They still kept it up.
Nope. Never counting them out again.
Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. They are a choke artist.
Yep.
They are choke artists.
But
at least they can punch their ticket to the dance every year, something that this team could never do. So
why should they punch their ticket to the dance every year if they're just going to lay the biggest egg? Because that's tradition in Boston.
If the Sabres went to the quarterfinals last year and lost in 7, I would be saying, when's the parade in downtown Buffalo?
Well,
when is the parade? Tell me when I'm there.
Right. No, I got you. But yeah, what we'll do, let's go on the last call because I know we're going to make it like an hour and a half show tonight. So one of the things that also came up, of course, the Penguins are going to retire Jaromir Jagr's jersey, which is absolutely well-deserved. He had a great career with them. But one of the big things I wanted to also talk about, of course, we all know the whole Adam Johnson incident, and Matt Petgrave has been arrested for manslaughter.
That's just rough. I mean, I've seen the video, and if you guys have seen it,
disgusting.
If you guys don't like stuff like that, don't watch the video. I mean, he looked like HBK doing the sweet chin music back in the Attitude Era. I mean, I don't know why you ever need to put your skate up that high in a hockey game. The dude's not wearing a neck guard. Nobody really wore neck guards before this happened. And like, it took Malarchuk and Zednik for people to say, hey, maybe we should wear these things.
Right.
People still didn't.
Yeah. And I remember seeing both of them when it happened to them. I mean, Zednik's was the least bad of the 3.
Well, he knew exactly what to do. He saw what happened to Malarchuk.
He went right to the bench and went right off. And Malarchuk, the only reason he really survived that one is because he was on the right side of the ice at the time where he could just go out the Zamboni door. Because
have you heard the interview that I don't know if it was like a 30 for 30 thing for TSN, or I don't even know what it was. Maybe it was Canadian Sports Center or something. He said he cared more about getting off the ice so his parents that were in attendance didn't get to see him die on the ice. Like he thought that was it. He was done.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. And we've actually interviewed Clint Malarchuk a couple times. I know, Bobby, you've done it twice. We had him on the show once. And I mean, and actually I still have his cell phone number now I think about it. But it was just, I remember seeing that as a kid. That was scary as hell to watch how bad that was.
What did like 2 fans in the odd have heart attacks and 6 fans, four players threw up on the ice or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was brutal. And then I saw the video with Johnson. That actually, in my opinion, is worse than the Malarchuk injury with how he bled out the way he did. And
I mean, Steve Tuttle got shoved in or he kind of lost his footing and slammed into the goalie, but it was nothing like what happened with Adam Johnson. It was just a tic-tac play that wrong place, wrong time for Malarchuk. Adam Johnson would still be alive today if the dude just kept his skate down.
He seriously would. And it was interesting because even Jeremy Roenick went on some of the media outlets last night, and he was even saying the same thing. I mean, in junior hockey and even in professional hockey, you don't put the skate up like that. It's one of those things, you just don't do it.
Nope. It's like, why? It's just an unnecessary play. I'm not going to get in front of like the whole charges thing, because I really don't know. Like, I don't think anyone really knows. Was there manslaughter means that you murdered somebody unintentionally? I don't think he was going on the ice that day saying, I'm going to take someone out. Like, I don't know, but I think neck guards, while they do, I don't know, they don't look prettiest on players, and players don't like wearing them. What's his name? Thomas Plekanec would always wear one. Henry Jokiharju has been wearing one since that happened, and I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
Like, does it take Adam
Zednik
Johnson,
wore one after
who
it happened too.
wasn't really a big name, Adam Johnson. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Does it take like a NASCAR type of deal for a star player to die on the ice for changes to be made?
Yeah,
like
seriously.
like when all these drivers in NASCAR are dying from blunt force head trauma because they don't have any neck protection, and then they lose the greatest driver that their sport has ever seen, and then mandatory changes are made. It's like, does I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole in the NHL, but is that what's going to, somebody of big status, he bleeds out on the ice, and that's when there's going to be mandatory change? Like, I don't know. It's just a tough topic to talk about.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, the Penguins already made changes. I mean, their AHL team and ECHL teams are being mandated to wear neck guards now. And I mean, I get it. And yes, he didn't. Now, Johnson wasn't a huge name for the Penguins, but he did play in a respectable number of games. And he also played with their AHL affiliate, Wilkes-Barre. So he ended up doing that. But still, that's just rough to see anytime that something like that happens. And it's like the worst thing you could ever picture. And, when it happens, and
straight out of a horror movie. Like, how are they gonna mandate neck guards when their commissioner doesn't even admit that fighting and hits to the head causes CTE? Like, I mean, it's just
very backwards.
It's just not even gonna go anywhere. Yeah,
it definitely is. And actually, it was interesting. And this is actually a true statement. So on our Twitter, we actually got some responses with the game yesterday, and this one guy who goes under the name Let Freedom Ring, he said the Sabres suck. I'm like, yeah, we did talk about that tonight. So
Let Freedom Ring, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah,
the Sabres suck. What? Yeah. What? No way. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah,
no way.
And on top of that, apparently some porn stars are following us now on Twitter, so it's even better. It's like,
some of the Elon Musk X bots following you too. Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep. We have that. But and shout out to Worldwide Sports on Long Island. It's cool that they're following us now also. And thanks for a shout out yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So with that, I was gonna say it was kind of funny because we haven't done an hour and a half in a while, but you had some great stuff tonight, man. But
there's a lot of things we needed to get off our chest, and the stuff from Monday and Tuesday night were just so overwhelming. So
yeah, and we could probably do like another 2.5 hours of it, honestly. But
I can give you a 10-hour show about the reasons why the Sabres haven't made the playoffs in the last 12 years. 1 hour per year they missed the playoffs.
Yep, for sure.
I can go on a 12-hour tangent. Yeah,
for sure. Well, last thing we'll talk about, Bobby, you're heading into the Eagles nest, aka you're going as a Bills fan to Philadelphia.
Well, prayers to you, physically and mentally.
Yeah, physically and mentally. Well, for those who don't know, that's going to be the next episode of Road to 32 next weekend, starting on Black Friday. My wife and I are taking a weekend road trip for 4 days in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we're going to see the Bills-Eagles game. And
oh my God, are you wearing Bills jerseys there, or are you going incognito?
What do you think?
You better be wearing a Bills jersey. I just don't want any Philly fan to bring a dagger, and then there's just no more Buffalo after dark.
Well, look at it this way. Our co-host Rob went to the Bengals game in a Steelers jersey, and he walked out alive.
Yes, that's true too. But
they got good skyline chili. Like, they're not that angry mob fan base like the Philadelphia Phillies and the Eagles and the Flyers and.
Yeah, but I will say this though is that I am.
And hey, Rob, jump on if you're watching too, because you said because he actually said, "Damn it, he was watching a Celtics game and he lost track of time."
Well, fuck him. He could come next week. But anyway,
that's what you get for watching basketball, buddy.
Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say is that we're going to the game with an Eagles fan from one of our group chats, but
he's got a bodyguard, so that's good.
Yeah, we're going to the game with an Eagles fan. So it's not like it's just us two. We did that last year when we went to Foxborough, me and my wife, and we had a good time. Yeah. At least I can admit, Trevor, that I went to Foxborough in a Bills jersey, by the way.
And I can pronounce my R's. Anyone from Boston or anyone from New England, it's called a car. It's called a harbor, not a haba, ka. It's not any of that. We can pronounce our R's, okay?
Yeah, but Philly's going to be interesting because we've been planning this trip since like June. So we were saying to ourselves last year, well, the Eagles are on the schedule and we have to find a way to go to the game somehow. And Brittany and I had a little thing going on saying that we would only go to the game if we had a third ringer. And we found one, and that was our buddy Brian. And he's in our group chat, like I said. He's a resident in Philly. So he's going to the game with us. So thankfully for that. I tried to invite Tom, but he said at the time he didn't have any days left. But because since then he got more, but we can't bring him because, well, he doesn't have any days left. So we're gonna go to the game, and we're gonna actually try to do an Eagles tour, like a stadium tour, like we did for Kansas City.
Okay.
We're gonna try to do a self tour in Philly, but I have to wait till Monday to find out when.
Take a picture in the prison, in the Lincoln Financial Prison. Take a picture in the prison.
Troy Aikman's a fag.
at the link jail. You got to take a picture. Oh yeah,
the courtroom in there.
Yep.
And they got all that.
Well, first off, I have to do something really goddamn stupid to do something like that. And second, I don't think it's going to be easy. But I know for a fact at Veterans Stadium they did have a jail. I'm not sure if there's one in Lincoln Financial Field, but I would not be surprised. Still. Well, I mean, Eagles fans are a bunch of animals. Let's be honest. So I will say, though, I would be the only person on Buffalo After Dark's history to be in both Boston and Philadelphia.
Two outstanding sports markets.
Yes.
Depending on whether you like those teams or not. Those are big sports cities.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I don't hate the Eagles. I hate their fans.
I hate the Phillies and the Flyers. I don't hate the Eagles.
Well, let me put it this way. As a Mets fan, I absolutely despise the Phillies. No question.
You have to be from Philly to enjoy the Phillies.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But I hate the Flyers. I'll say that. Even as an Islander fan, I absolutely despise the Flyers.
Yep.
Sixers I could care less about. I don't really care about basketball. But
Philadelphia Wings, screw them too. Go Bandits.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. Fuck Bon Jovi.
Jovi.
Oh, and here's something, Bobby, and you'll notice this on our
That's
Twitter.
a New Jersey guy. I think he's a New Jersey guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Jersey, but he grew up like an Eagles fan. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's a Patriots fan, but he used to own the Philadelphia Souls in the AFL in 20 years.
Oh, arena football. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And he tried to buy the Bills, and he was lying about, I'm going to.
He wanted to relocate them to Toronto.
Yeah, he did. And then he lied about it and never got full approval to buy the team.
And then Jack FM wouldn't play Bon Jovi on their station for a year.
Yeah, right.
I think the only time Buffalo will ever embrace Bon Jovi is the day he dies.
God, that's a little dark, man.
That's a little ways out.
If I'm at a party, I'm still singing "Living on a Prayer," Bobby. I don't know about you.
I was gonna say 97 Rock plays him every day.
Yeah, don't like Bon Jovi. Period. I don't care.
Until the day Wanted Dead or Alive is an absolute fucking banger.
Well, that's something I will say this. That is something I want. I want him dead, but I don't want him alive. That guy can fucking rot.
Oh, he's playing on the words of the song. Yeah. Wanted dead or alive.
Oh, and by the way, on our Twitter, Kenzie, thank you for the nude pictures. We appreciate that. So, yes, we actually have a follower that sent us naked pictures.
I think that's probably an Elon Musk AI.
Probably.
It's gotta be. I don't even know what it is, but I don't plan to look at it, but I don't need to know that.
Anyways, guys, I was going to say I'm 0-4 at Sabres games this year. Keep on the lookout because my brother came up with a decent idea. Me, him, and my college buddy. We're thinking about doing two things. We don't know if these things are going to get executed or not. But for one, starting a Sabres podcast together. I came up with a solid name. I came up with Rock'em Sock'em Sabres, but the name is still up in the air.
Sure.
Two, going to the New Year's Eve game in Ottawa. So that'd be big.
If I were you, go to the New Year's Eve game in Ottawa.
I want to. I've never been to a road game. I've never been to a road Sabres game in my life. So
I will tell you this. I have been to a road Sabres game firsthand. So has Tom. I went to a Ranger Sabres game at the Winter Classic and at the Garden. Mm-hmm. I went to a handful of Sabres Devils games at the Rock. Obviously, I've been to a handful of Islander Sabres games, and I've been to a Sabres Leafs games. A Sabres Leafs game like 10 years ago.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. So Ottawa is probably the cheapest city in Canada that I found. As much as I want to go up to Montreal and wear my goat head and piss off a bunch of French people,
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's just out of my. That would pound the wallet a little bit, but Ottawa's close, so closer. But
why don't you go to Toronto?
Dude, that's like the most expensive city of all.
$250 tickets to sit up in the 300s. No.
Oh yeah, you're paying over $1,000 in a lower bowl.
That's why all the Toronto fans come here. They're like, I can get a 100 level ticket for $70. Hell yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Like,
that's nothing.
And plus the crowd is too corporate up in Toronto.
You don't want to know something? You know how much
they're wearing suits there, like in the 200s. Like,
you know how much money I paid for the go to a range game? I paid like $350 for one ticket just to go to.
That's in the Garden too. I mean, we're talking about the Canadian Tire Scotiabank Center place, whatever it's called now in Ottawa. But
I get that.
Smaller market, cheaper seats. You know, it's
Scotiabank Arena in Toronto is insanely expensive.
Yeah, I think it's Scotiabank Place in Ottawa or something.
You know who's
like that.
insanely expensive? Boston Bruins games. Yeah. I went to a Boston Bruins game almost a year ago, and those tickets were not cheap.
Any original six team, they have very expensive seats.
Yeah, Montreal's way up there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I paid like $165 for one ticket for myself in like section 312 last year when I went to see the Bruins play the Avalanche when I was in Boston.
That's wild.
It is wild. And I will say this presentation is really nice. But if you want to get a selfie or anything like that, good luck. Because the shading inside TD Garden is so dark. Like, you can't even see anything outside of, like, the rink. It's embarrassing.
It might be nice because it's so damn bright at the KeyBank Center. My God. Like, I'm squinting watching the Sabres
game.
Ever
since they put that new lighting in a few years ago.
Oh, my God. Like, what the F, dude?
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, on the bright side, though, I am going to resend that scoreboard thing to the new interim guy who replaced the guy that got booted for sexual harassment. So we'll see what happens.
Yikes.
But, hey, worst case, well, they know one thing. Well, if we can't produce a good team, we'll do like the other teams do, get us a new scoreboard so we can see even bigger now on how they do.
But, man, that scoreboard has been around since 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
God, I'm surprised it stayed up, unlike the first one.
I was supposed to go to the Boston game when we were playing that day, and the scoreboard fell down.
Did they relocate that game to Rochester?
No, they played it later in the season.
Oh, I remember 05 they played a game.
They salvaged two sides of the scoreboard and put them up in the corners to last the rest of the season.
2005, I think they played a game in Rochester, but that was for the Amerks season ticket holders in Rochester, and I think they played Washington. Because that for some reason that game came up in my YouTube recommendation. It was like Sabres Capitals 2005. I was like, I'll watch this. The rink looked different and the horn sounded different. I was like, what is it? They're in Rochester. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. But no, it was a good time though. I mean, I saw a game in the old barn down in Long Island before they did the move to UBS, and that was actually pretty cool too.
Nice.
That was actually a game before Phil Housley got fired, so that was even better.
Where Robin Leonard made like 40 saves and shut us out. Is that the game?
Oh my God. It was like a 6-1 loss or something like that.
What a joke.
Yeah, but either way, it's just bad timing at that point. You two should come down and see UBS. I'm telling you, it's a really nice stadium.
Yeah, no, well, definitely on the plan at some point. And then last couple comments. KB says the Bruins. Well, actually, I already read that one. She said better to lay an egg than to be perennial basement dwellers. So,
retweet.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Retweet.
That's a good one. But no, all is good, man. So I gotta say, we gotta get you on here more often, man. That was a good hour and a half.
Yeah, especially if the Sabres are doing well or they're playing like this. But oh my God, I haven't recorded anything for any show in forever. So the fact that I could get all those thoughts out on the Sabres is therapeutic.
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah,
maybe a little bit, and the standings don't show otherwise. But
right,
that's the last game. One of my college buddies, his dad worked for the KeyBank Center. That's why I went to a whole bunch of games last year, so we got free tickets. I am not paying tickets the rest of this season anymore. I paid $49 for the home opener. We lost 5-1 to freaking New York. We paid $49 against Philly, and I paid $21 last night. And I don't even know how much I paid for against Calgary, but all those games were a joke.
Well, I guess on the bright side, Bobby, if I'm taking you to a Columbus game with Doug and everybody, it's going to be cheap-ass seats in the 300s. It won't cost us much.
When is that, December?
Yeah, I think it's
December 19th.
December 19th.
You're going to find $12 StubHub tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Dude, we should dude, you should come with us.
We were talking about that before the show, too. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, come on up. I mean, hell,
ticket prices have to be low because I did promise myself and promise my wallet that I'm not spending money to watch this team lose anymore. So,
right. Well,
God.
Yeah, I'll let you know what I find out, and then I mean, if you want in, we'll do it. But yeah, I was gonna say, we gotta get you on here more often, and I'll even offer this in front of everybody right now too. If you said it was you and your cousin that wanted to do a hockey podcast,
me, my brother, and my college buddy.
Okay, so here's what I'll do, and I'm happy to offer this to you here. Is that, of course, you've been with us for a while now, and you come on quite a bit. So if you want, we'll give you the airtime on here. It's like, we'll have you as part of us, and feel free, run your show.
That sounds sweet. I don't even know if we're gonna get this thing started anytime soon, but I can't think of a better time to start one than right now because fans are upset. I'm upset. They're upset.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Oh my god.
We'll definitely give you the airtime you want. So
it's fun being a Sabres fan, guys. At least and like one last thing, like people were saying I keep seeing people wearing like a Dylan Cousins jersey and stuff like that, and like I see like Kyle Okposo jerseys and I see Alex Tuch jerseys, and I'm like, well, I do like a lot of the players that we have on our team right now, like JJ Peterka, Alex Tuch. Those guys deserve a lot of credit on most nights, and Rasmus Dahlin. That's why I'm a sucker for the vintage stuff. If you're on eBay and you're selling a $50 freaking Buffa Slug Derek Roy jersey, I would buy that over a Tage Thompson anything. Just because this team right now, we're on 12 years of no playoffs. I love to kick it back to my childhood, and I like to remember how they were back when they were good and back when they knew how to pass and they knew how to score on the power play and when they were run by a good head coach. That's why I wear all the vintage stuff. Right in my closet over there, I got a Jay McKee jersey, I got a JP Dumont jersey, and a Derek Roy jersey. And I'd rather wear those three over a JJ Peterka, Kyle Okposo, Zemgus Girgensons anything. Yeah. So
I'll wear my signed Pat Coletta jersey when I met him in person.
And you have the red jersey too. I'm still looking for a red jersey.
I have a Stu Barnes red jersey. I'm sitting right behind me, actually.
I was gonna say
I don't even have that jersey.
If you needed a couple extra $100, like $400, people are buying those on eBay for like $350. Like
easily.
If you're ever in a pinch and you need to, you can make some good money off of those jerseys. Yep.
Yeah, super rare to find, especially the Barnes jersey. Super rare to find. But
Miroslav Shatan 81 red jerseys are hard to find too, like the Danny Briers and the Dominic Hasek's. Any red jersey with a nameplate on the back is tough to find.
Yeah, for sure. But no, it was cool actually. When I met Pat Coletta a few years ago, I was at the Fan Connection documentary film preview actually, where I got to see the uncut version and different things before I went to the final DVD version that I have signed. And actually, I think Bobby, I sent you a copy of the signed version of that also from the two producers we've had on the show a few times. But the one night actually it was one of the last premieres that they had out in East Aurora. Actually, Pat Coletta was there, and one of the funniest things I had to open up with is how did it feel laying the jackhammer on Derek Dorsett when he punched his face in 11 times,
or fighting Chris Phillips in his first NHL game.
Yeah, he was super cool to meet in person. I will say that. So
our family met him at a Buffalo Bison's game a long time ago too, back when they had the tents before they made the outfield bullpens. They used to have the tents over there when you can meet the Sabres players. We met Roisey, Peters, and I think Coletta was over there as well. So those were always just some fun memories.
Yep, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. But yeah, what we gotta do, man, Trevor, you gotta come back more often. We gotta have you on.
Anytime you guys want me and I'm available, I'll go for it, man. I'll make an hour or so appearance.
Awesome.
Let you guys know what's going on. Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. And then of course, offer still stands. You want the airtime, we'll give it to you, your brother, and everybody. So that's all good.
Say, I'll talk to it with the two business partners. So yep.
Sweet.
Go with it.
Definitely love to get you on. So we'll do that, and then of course, I'll talk to you more about that hockey game too if you want to come up, by all means. And good thing is actually we're gonna. I mean, you could always even stay at my place for a day or whatever you gotta do. So it's all good. But everybody watching, Katie, thanks for commenting and thanks for making Bobby laugh here. It was all cool. Of course, as you know, visit us on Spotify and YouTube, and of course we're on X. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you.
Peace out, guys.